I love having appetizers already made in my freezer, but I especially love it during the holidays.
Oh, it's a no-brainer to have appetizers in your freezer for the holidays. We already do it for our baking. Why not do it for appetizers?
We have so much variety here. Some of these are ones that you can pull out and eat right away. Some of them are ones that you can pull out and heat up in the oven so that it's like they are completely fresh. No one needs to know they came out of your freezer. These are perfect for taking with you to holiday gatherings, for hosting those gatherings yourself. They are really perfect for last-minute guests.
This past summer, in fact, Charla threw me a bit of an impromptu birthday party, and she pulled out so many appetizers out of her freezer, like you wouldn't know that she had just decided to do it the day before. And that was pretty great. So you can do this too. It just makes your holiday season so much easier.
And later in this video, we're going to be sharing with you something that can even take more stress out of your holiday and can make not just the appetizers and hosting easier, but everything about your holiday cooking easier. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna get started. These mini cheese balls are so cute. I've been making them for like the last few years during the holidays, and you can make them very holiday-esque because you can roll them in cranberries and in some kind of herb. We're doing ours in dill today. And you can even leave some white so that you have like white, green,
and red. Or you could roll them in chopped pistachios, because those are also green.
Also green, yes.
Super cute.
But today we're actually just making green ones because I forgot to get dried cranberries, and you know, we always say done is better than perfect.
That is pretty much exactly what we said, and we also said that about the bacon that we're going to see later on. Don't worry, if we're having an appetizer video, there's going to be bacon in it.
But I do need to tell you that Christy and I discovered last year that if you are gonna roll your little mini cheese balls in the cranberries, you do wanna chop the cranberries first because it's just difficult.
They look like little UFOs.
Yeah, if you don't chop them, it's...
Yeah, it was much cuter when they were chopped up.
Yes, so...
And easier.
What we're gonna do is mix together in a bowl some softened cream cheese, some shredded sharp cheddar cheese, some dry onion flakes. We're using a 3-onion blend, a dash of hot sauce, pinch of pepper, some lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, and then once that's all mixed together, you can chill this in the fridge a little bit just to make these easier to roll. And then what you're gonna do is shape them into little balls. There's not like it doesn't have to be a certain size. You could make them bigger, you could make them smaller. If you wanted, you could make a large cheese ball with this same exact mixture. We just think the mini ones are super cute.
They are super cute.
And when you're entertaining, you can set these out next to some crackers and just put a few spreaders there. And then people, the nice thing is they can grab a whole cheese ball and put that on their cracker. And so it's kind of easier than like digging away
yeah, for sure.
Into a cheese ball. And just easier for, you know, if you're having more of a potluck style thing. And
do you remember the old cheese balls from like the 80s? The giant cheese ball.
Oh yes, I still make them because I love cheese balls.
Well, that's kind of what this is. They're just itty bitty, right? And also a ham ball. Did your mom make a ham ball?
No, but I do salmon balls every year at Christmas.
Oh, I have a salmon dip that I make. That is cream cheese, salmon, and ketchup, I think.
Oh, that is
super
different.
Simple. And I don't think it would freeze really great, but it might.
My salmon ball is more like a cheese ball. So it's got the canned salmon and cream cheese, and it's got herbs and the Worcestershire and the dry onion, and my aunt used to make it when I was growing up, and I still just, you know, it's one of those comfort food type of like familiar recipes.
Do you know what? As you were saying that, I realized it isn't salmon that I make, it's a crab dip.
Oh,
but it's still made with cream cheese and ketchup and just canned crab, right? Landlocked Alberta, we weren't fancy about our seafood.
No.
For those of you that don't know, Charlotte and I are neighbors. I live 2 doors down. We've been making freezer meals together for, we figure, over 13 years, and before that, like on our own. And so when I moved in here, we just took the leap and said, well, let's try make this together. And kind of the rest is history. We did this for a long time together before we started filming. And it's really great. It's a great way to live.
So great, and not just for holidays, for the everyday.
For the everyday, I use freezer meals just about every day. And do you know what else it's done for me? It has brought back my enjoyment of cooking, because if I'm going to make like a big meal that isn't a freezer meal, I can get right carried away, because it's not something that I just have to do every day. You know, I'm busy. I like cooking, and I want to like cooking. Okay, so this is it for the dill here. We did fresh chopped dill. We could have done parsley, and like Charlotte said, we could have done the cranberries or the or pistachios.
Or pistachios, like you had that idea.
But we're done with the dill, so we're just going to leave this, and the rest of it will be white, and that'll be good.
Yeah, and you know, the other option, of course, is that I will likely have dried cranberries closer to Christmas, so I could always thaw them and then roll them in the dried cranberries, and they would still, like, it would still work just fine.
Yeah, it totally would. You're very good at keeping them consistent in size. They're great.
You're used to my perfectionism.
Mine would be all different sizes, yet they would all be too big. Like,
right.
And then that's not enticing to chew on, right? Like, you don't, this isn't like a 2-bite brownie. This is something that you want to spread on a cracker, or, and I forgot about the spreading on the crackers bit, honestly. I thought these were something that you would pop in your mouth, but it is a lot of cheese in your mouth.
You don't want to just pop this. Well, you can. I mean, you do you. But but I think that it's just, that's how we've served it, is with the crackers, and it's gone really well. People always think it's cute, right? And then it's just a little, it also is something for people to talk about. And they're like, oh, I've never thought of making cheese balls this size before. So, and the nice thing is too, you can pull out as many as you need, or as few as you need. So sometimes, you know, I will say, when these are in my freezer, in the freezer bag, I have gooey hands now, but I will sometimes just pull out like 1 or 2,
totally,
thaw them and put them on a cracker, because you need an afternoon snack.
Date night.
Oh, these
you could make your own little charcuterie board, a little mini one, and pop a few of those on there.
Great idea. Meatballs are such a great way to feed a crowd, and we have a ton of meatball recipes.
Like 17 or something?
A lot.
A lot.
Using frozen meatballs. We do have a few recipes for making your own homemade meatballs as well, but as far as like quick and easy goes, this is the giant Costco bag of frozen meatballs, but buying your meatballs pre-cooked and frozen just saves you a lot of steps. So we often do that. We even, of those like 17 recipes and counting, because we're always inventing new ones, we have quite a few that are cocktail meatballs, or specifically for appetizers. And this is one that you could eat as a meal or as an appetizer, but we've been using it more as an appetizer.
Yeah, it totally can go either way.
And it is, and we've used it actually already at a party, so it's, I am just blah, 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 blah.
That's okay. Did we say what they are yet?
And this is our barbecue beer meatballs. The only thing better than the fact that we are using pre-done meatballs is that this is 4 ingredients.
4 ingredients. It could not be easier. And you might be saying, like, why are you bothering if it's only 4 ingredients? It's because then it's done and it's in your freezer. And then there's just that mental energy that you don't have to put into it anymore, that you could just take it out. You could take it out and eat it. You could take it out and use it as an appetizer. A little bit tougher to take just a few out on this one, and only have a few. Yes. You're gonna have to commit to the whole thing, or you could divide this recipe into 2 smaller quart-sized freezer bags and still do the same thing. So there's like options. You could use a little bit of imagination and make this work however you need it to.
The great thing is that when you go to make this, you can make it in the slow cooker or on your stove top, and so it just is one of those things, like Christy said, you don't even have to think about it. It's like, it's going in your slow cooker. You didn't have to go to the grocery store. You didn't have to worry about whether or not you had meatballs or a jalapeno or, you know, the other ingredients. As a matter of fact, kind of funny story, but it does call for a beer because it's barbecue beer meatballs, and I did not really have a beer. So this is a non-alcohol beer, and it'll work just fine.
It'll work just fine.
This is what I had, and this is what we're using. Again, with the whole done is better than perfect thing. So we're gonna get our meatballs in the bag. We're gonna add some barbecue sauce, a beer, and sliced jalapenos. And then we're going to seal it up. Get out our excess air, because when you're freezer cooking, air causes freezer burn. We avoid that. And then you're gonna get this in your freezer, and like we said earlier, this one just cooks up in your slow cooker or a stovetop pot. You don't even have to have it thawed before you get it into one of those cooking vehicles. And yeah, then it's done.
I always have a chuckle because there's some things that you're so precise about, like your meatball, like your little cheese balls that you were making. She tried very hard to make them as evenly as possible. And, you know, I tease her sometimes, but I would have gotten out my kitchen scale to measure 1.5 pounds of meatballs. And she just like, this looks good. This calls for how much? 1.5 cups. Well, I think we might need some more. Do you think that's some 1.5 cups?
Nope.
No,
it's not. I'm
that's
just
okay.
eyeballing it.
You have some more.
It's not.
It's funny what is, you know,
what I'm precise
what you
about
can
and what
wing
I'm
and
not.
what you can't.
You know, when you've been friends for a really long time, you get to know the person, especially if you're in like their kitchen a lot and you do your cooking together. And Christy and I also spend time not like outside of cooking. And so we do spend time eating together, playing games, all, you know, going for walks. Like, we've kind of raised our kids side by side and talk about all the parenting things and all of that. And so you really get to know the person really well, and you get to the point where you can, you know, you can kind of make fun of their little quirks. And
when we both have them, like it is funny.
I have maybe more quirks than the average person.
Okay, so we could put just a little tablespoon or two of apple cider vinegar into that, shake it up to get the rest out. But you know what, Charlotte was very diligent there. There was a lot of, you were fine. We can probably, now I think you got almost a whole cup in there, hey?
Yeah, I think it's about 1 cup.
Okay, I'm gonna also.
Now you might notice
I only need half a cup.
Different brand.
And a different
sauce.
flavor.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
This is still gonna taste amazing. And your guests are not gonna be like, hey, wait a minute.
This is Bullseye Bold Original, and that was Sweet Baby Ray's.
Woo. Okay.
How much?
The whole can?
No.
Two-thirds of a cup.
We might need to measure this one.
This we might need to measure. Now, I will mention that when you are doing something with a beer or a pop or anything that has bubbles, it's good to let the bubbles settle a little bit before you seal your bag, because when you're getting all the excess air out but there's still bubbles in there, then you don't actually have as much air as you could get out. So I like to, you know, kind of let things settle before we seal up the bag.
A while ago, I want to say maybe earlier this summer or this spring, we were making chicken wings, and we rolled them in like sodium bicarbonate, like in baking soda. And because there was a bit of moisture in with the mix as well, it started activating. And like 3 times, I'm like, oh, I thought I got all the air out of this bag. And so I would take the air out. And it wasn't until like the 3rd time, I'm like, wait a minute.
The baking soda is doing its thing.
The baking soda is doing its thing. I need to get this into the freezer and just ignore the air that's happening. And they tasted good. They were totally fine. It didn't ruin anything by me, like, you know, activating the baking soda too early. But it was really funny.
She kept being like, wait a minute, didn't I do that
I totally took the air out of this bag.
Okay, so I know that we took longer than we needed to, because we were chatting and we were, you know, switching out our barbecue sauce and all of that, but really, trust us, this could come together in about 3 seconds if you
were organized. So what we are actually using here today is this beautiful little PDF that we have of holiday appetizers. There's 5 recipes in it. It comes with a little write-up for each of the recipes. It has the recipe. It has a shopping list of everything you're going to need to make these recipes. Not that we used it because we didn't have cranberries and we didn't have beer, but that's okay. We'll find out what else we don't have as we go.
We totally did not use our own shopping list.
But we did use the prep list.
We did. I'm going to show you. Hold on. Okay.
We even
Shopping
used the
list,
prep list.
It's beautiful, but prep list, you can see where we've checked things off.
Except for the cranberries where I crossed them off.
There you go.
And then our favorite part, it comes with printable labels. So we just use Avery labels. Actually, these are Staples brand. They're shipping labels and they stick right on. They go right on the bag. They stay really well in the freezer. They don't seem to run. They work awesome. And then what else is nice is, you know, say you're invited out to a holiday party and you're just gonna grab this and go because you just got home from work. All you had time to do was change your shirt and put on some makeup and then you are gone again. And so this already has the label on it. You could go to the party and be like, excuse me, I need to use your stove for like 10 minutes.
Because it's got the cooking instructions right on the
That's where I was
label.
going with this, sorry. It's got the cooking instructions right on it. And so, you know, your teenagers could make this, your spouse could make this. This can happen while you're not even in the house if you set this up correctly. And that's really awesome.
Or you could make all of these holiday appetizers, put the labels on them because you've got them from your PDF, and then you could gift all of these meals to someone as a holiday gift so that they don't have to think about what to feed their guests because it's just that easy. The instructions are already on these things. So the great thing, the thing that earlier we were saying that we've got a way to make your holidays very easy is what we've done is we've put together something called Savor the Season, which is basically a holiday meal prep kit that has everything you need to kind of take this mental load off of you for the holidays as far as your cooking goes. Now, we are not little holiday elves. We cannot come and do your gift wrapping for you or your gift shopping for you. We can't like hang your stockings or that is not us. But we can make all the holiday meals easier for you because in this Savor the Season bundle, we have make-ahead side dishes. So you can get those sides made right now. We've got Christmas breakfast.
Yes, we do.
We have holiday baking. We have this Appetizers PDF that is right in this bundle. We also have make-ahead dips because these are really nice and versatile and there's a lot of different variety here, but it's also nice and like homey and heartwarming to have those dips. So you can make these dips ahead and then heat them up on the day that you go to serve them. Your guests, I mean, we've got classics in there like your spinach artichoke dip and your buffalo chicken.
Right.
But we've also got some really fun ones that you probably don't usually make.
We even have a jalapeno popper dip, which is like an explosion of flavor in your mouth that kind of rivals the buffalo chicken dip. And I don't say that lightly because I am very attached to this buffalo chicken dip. We've been making it for years. It freezes beautifully. And kind of like I said before, you could put it in a big bag like this, or you can divide it up into smaller bags. You can have a small crowd or combine them and have a big crowd, whatever you want. You can make this work for you. And that's just the best part about freezer meals. Now, there is a bonus. If you buy this Savor the Season holiday bundle, you will get a PDF that gives you recipes for what to do with your turkey leftovers. Woohoo! What do you do with all your turkey leftovers? Now, we have done videos on these in the past, and it is always popular. It's always something that people ask. and we have ideas for you that you would not have thought of. And I mean, we're not talking just your regular old turkey rice soup. You know, there is a soup in there, but it is not that one.
And we've got stuff in there that is a far cry from soup. So if you're wondering what you're gonna do with your turkey leftovers, this is the answer. And then these meals are in your freezer. So you're not sick of eating turkey because it's 2 months later and you go to take out.
You're looking forward to the turkey.
Yes, exactly. So this has everything that you need to take all of that stress out of the holidays so that your Christmas breakfast is made ahead, your appetizers are made ahead, your Christmas baking is made ahead, and this is all in your freezer. You've even got your holiday side dishes, like we're talking like your stuffing, your mashed potatoes, your corn casserole, like a sweet potato casserole, everything you need. It is all done, made ahead, and sitting there waiting so that when the rest of your family is visiting and relaxing, you're not in your kitchen.
Right?
Scurrying around.
You get to go and actually partake with your family and sit down and, you know, play board games with them or have a nice visit with your cousin that you haven't seen in 10 years. And you're not just stuck in the kitchen, because we have been that mom stuck in the kitchen. So when everything's done and we kind of look at it and you're like, I could have got more out of this if I had just been a little bit more prepared or planned things just a little bit differently. This is the answer. Now, you can go into our store and buy these individually. You can go do that right now. But what isn't in the store is the turkey leftovers freezer stack. You only get that if you buy the bundle, and it's at a reduced price. I mean, 'tis the season. We are going to make this nice for you, and we're excited for you to be able to try these recipes. They are tried and true. Everything in this bundle, we have prepared, we have frozen it, we have thawed it, and we have eaten it, and it's still delicious. It makes the cut, and it really, really, really makes a difference in your Christmas.
You can find the link in the description below. We're gonna share one more detail about it later, but for now, we're gonna get back to our holiday appetizers, and we're going in order that they are in here. So we are next going to do Christmas pinwheels, which are just so colorful and
they're adorable.
They're cute. We like cute.
We totally like cute.
So for these, we're gonna use spinach tortillas so that we get that green pop of color. We're gonna mix together in a bowl some cream cheese that's been softened, or you can use the whipped kind if you want, some dry ranch seasoning, diced red peppers, and some chopped chives. Then we're gonna spread that mixture onto those spinach tortillas, and we are going to roll those up and wrap each one individually in plastic wrap, and then we're going to put those just as they are into a large resealable freezer bag. It keeps them fresher if you slice them on the day that you're going to serve them rather than slicing them and having them dry out in the bag.
It also slices nicer when it's just thawing, right?
Yes.
It's not quite fully thawed, it's still not really frozen, it's like that nice in between, and they just slice so nicely.
And this is just a simple appetizer, but again, because it's got the red and the green, it's very holiday-ish and just so nice to be able to pull out of your freezer. And you can even tell yourself it's healthy because there's a spinach tortilla and some red peppers and chives.
Completely. And another option, if maybe you have them at your supermarket or maybe you don't, but here we can also get red tortillas that are tomato based. And so you could do red, white, and green as well for your tortillas, which makes them a little bit extra festive.
Absolutely. You could do green pepper inside instead of the red pepper and just reverse that, or you could do both and have them on your platter, and it would look just lovely.
It totally would. And they'll think, oh, you went all out this year. And you can say, I know.
When really they've been in your freezer for a month.
Nobody needs to know. Or you can brag about it and tell them about Freezer Meals 101 and how we're your besties.
We don't mind if you do that either.
You can do that too.
We do also have a recipe for Santa Fe spirals that you can also make ahead and have in your freezer, and those are really nice if you wanted to have the red ones, the green ones, and the white ones of the Santa Fe spirals, and those ones have a little bit of salsa in the filling, as well as some green onions and jalapenos, so they actually have like...
They're festive looking too. And you dip those ones into salsa, they're really good.
They are.
You can find those at freezermeals101.com. This next recipe is the bacon wrapped jalapenos. Now, I know that you can go to the grocery store and find these in your freezer aisle. You can go ahead and do that, but these are better. They just are.
They're better, and those ones are like triple or quadruple the price, and you get such a small amount of them.
Yes. So what's nice about when you make these, because we're going to make the filling and we're going to put it in and wrap the bacon just like they are in the store, but also just like they are in the store, you have options. You could put them in a little foil tray and freeze them that way. So when it comes time to make them, you can cook these from frozen and you can just pull them out, pop them into your heated oven, and it feels just like you got them from the store, but you know that they're going to be so much better and that you did not spend a silly amount of money making them. And you can also put them into freezer bags. You could do that part however you like, but I know between Charla and I, it does feel kind of fancy to pull them out when they're in the little tray.
It does.
I think today, do we have little trays, or are we just going to put them in the bag today?
We're gonna put them in the bag, but before we do that, we are gonna flash freeze them. So that just means we're gonna lay them in a single layer on a cookie sheet. We're gonna get that in our freezer. We're gonna wait till they're fully frozen before we transfer them into the bag. The reason we do that is so that they don't stick together. And then you can pull out as many as you want, or you can dump the entire bag contents and bake them all up. I just like having the option to pull out less, because sometimes you have larger gatherings and smaller gatherings.
And if they all stick together, you pull it out and it's a sheet, and you don't really want that all the time either. To make these, you are going to have your jalapenos. Use medium to large size jalapenos. You're going to take the stems off, you're going to cut them lengthwise and remove the seeds and the membranes. Then you're going to mix up your softened cream cheese with a bit of pepper, some shredded cheddar cheese, and that is it. You're going to fill your jalapeno halves with the cheese mixture, and then you're going to wrap these with your bacon. Now we have just taken each of our strips of bacon and cut them in half, so you're just using half a piece here, so it's not like overly bacony. I promise you, it is the perfect ratio of bacon to jalapeno. And then, like Charla said, we're going to lay them on a cookie sheet and freeze them, and then we're going to add them to our freezer bags. When you go to make these, you really can just throw them in. You can put them on a wire rack, so the bottom part of the bacon crisps up as well. You're going to cook them for 20 to 25 minutes at 450 degrees in your oven. Transfer them to a paper towel before serving, otherwise you're going to have some bacon grease involved here. And you can also do these in the air fryer. Of course you can, at 350 for 14 to 16 minutes. And you want to like just a single layer, don't crowd them. Give them a shake around halftime, because these wouldn't be good to flip over because you would lose your cheese mixture.
Last year, we came up with this recipe, and it's for Gougeres. Very fancy.
Very fancy.
And Christy is actually the one who came to me and was like, do you think we can make Gougeres for the freezer? There's two options with this. What we did last year is we actually baked them fully and then froze them. But we've since discovered that you can
freeze them before baking, and that way when you bake them, you take them out, and honestly, they thaw in a second. You put them out on your cookie sheet, and if they're as good as thawed, you throw them into your oven, and then they're like fresh baked Gougeres. And if you aren't familiar, it's a puff pastry. It's choux pastry if you watch the fancy baking shows. It's a puff pastry that's got Gruyere cheese sometimes. We are using sharp white cheddar today, and man, does it just kind of elevate your appetizer spread by putting these out. The aroma is great. People will wander in and be like, what is that? So give these a try. They're a little finicky. We are going to show you every step of the way, and every step of the way is written down in these instructions as well. And in fact, you know, most of these take up just half a page for the recipe. the Gougeres gets like a whole page because
we want you to succeed.
We want you to succeed.
Making these. And where everything else, you could see how simple it was, like our 4-ingredient meatballs. The Gougeres are admittedly a bit of a fancier recipe, but we fully believe in you. We know that you can do this. You follow these instructions and you will be able to have this this fancy appetizer that you can serve your guests, or honestly, you probably want to sneak a few before your guests arrive.
Yes. And this is one of those things that if you're going to freeze this in your freezer, you want to cross out the Gougeres on the label and call them chicken livers so your family doesn't eat them before you get a chance to serve them to your guests. Into a medium saucepan, you're going to heat up some water, some unsalted butter, some milk, and a bit of salt over medium heat until the mixture comes to a boil. Remove the pan from the heat and add the flour, some mustard powder, and cayenne, and then stir with a wooden spoon. Once all the flour is incorporated, place the pan back over the medium heat and stir continuously until the dough is smooth and it forms a skin on the bottom of the pan and it starts to pull away from the edges of the pan. This might take 4 or 5 minutes. Then you are going to place the dough in the bowl of a stand mixer. You're going to allow the dough to cool for 5 to 7 minutes, and then using the stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, you want to beat the dough for 1 minute on medium speed. You're going to beat in the eggs one at a time, scraping down the sides and the bottom of the bowl each time to make sure it's fully incorporated. Beat very well until the eggs are fully incorporated, and then you can add cheese and your chopped chives and continue beating until well combined. Transfer the mixture into a piping bag fitted with a 1/2-inch round piping tip. On one of the prepared baking sheets, hold the piping tip about 1/2 inch above the parchment paper, hold the tip still, and apply an even pressure until the batter forms a 1.5-inch circle. Stop squeezing and move the tip in a quick circular motion with a bit of a flourish as you lift away so that it does not end up in a point. Repeat with the remaining batter and remaining baking sheet, and if necessary, you can dip your finger into water and smooth out any points on the Gougeres to make them perfectly smooth. You want to sprinkle these with sea salt if you like, and at this point, you can put them into your freezer or you can bake them. Today we are going to freeze these just like this. We're going to freeze them individually on these baking sheets, and then we're going to put them into our freezer bags again so that they're already frozen. They aren't going to stick together. We can take out as many or as few as we want to cook.
Hopefully you've seen how easy it can be to make your holiday appetizers up ahead. I just want to give you a little reminder about the Savor the Season bundle that can take kind of all of the stress about cooking away for the holidays coming up. One thing that I wanted to mention about it is that if you're familiar with our freezer stack PDFs, usually what we do is we have our recipes, the shopping list if you're going to make every single recipe that's in there, your prep list again for everything, and then your printable labels. Some of these, in particular, I want to point out the holiday baking one and the heat and serve dips. What we've done is we've changed it up with you in mind. What we did for those is we created individual shopping lists so that if you just want to make, like, if you're not Canadian, like we are, and you're like, what is a butter tart?
I don't want to make a butter tart, or I definitely want to make a butter tart.
Right.
You definitely do.
You do. So if you want to try just that and you want to add that in to your tried and true holiday baking, because I know how it is. Like, we both know how it is. Your family expects certain things in terms of holiday baking. They have their favorites and it just wouldn't be the holidays without them. So we know that you might not want to make all of our baking recipes. You might just want to try one new one this year. So you might want to grab like the butter tarts, for example, or we've got so many good recipes in there.
Anyway, you'll probably end up making them all anyway, but we did divide it up for you because we didn't want you to be standing at the grocery store looking at your shopping list saying, do I need all this butter for just the butter tarts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same with the heat and serve dips. Now, we love dips and appetizers, so we might make all 5 of those recipes, but you might not be hosting that much during the holidays. You might want to just choose 1 or 2 of the dips, and maybe you want to double the one that you chose or not. So we just gave you a little bit more flexibility with these particular PDFs. Now, some of them, like our holiday sides, we're pretty confident that you're going to want to make them all, because then all you need is your protein and your entire meal is done. So for that, we did go ahead and create the shopping list with all of the recipes in mind. I did just want to comment on that in case you're like, but wait, I've got my own holiday baking that I want to do, and I'm not sure that I want to commit to making 5 new recipes.
No kidding. It's already busy enough. We don't need to pile it on for you. This is a great compromise.
Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out those links in the description below, especially for the Savor of the Season bundle, because it is only available for a very limited time at this low, low price. It's 50% off.
Run now, start the car.
Check that out. We know that you're gonna find so much more peace this season if you give this a try. So we really hope that this helps you out. Thank you again for being here with us, and happy cooking.